So I'm here again with another story time that you guys love, and I love it too. Um, Before my very first Instagram got shut down or scammed, I would do a lot of story times on there, and people used to tune in. That was more of like my ratchet story times. I'm trying to keep this more on a spiritual tip. Maybe I'll do story time on TikTok. I'll make a story time TikTok where I could speak about ratchet shit. But this story time is about gossiping, being black magic. An amazing elder named Mama Moot put me on to this. So let's get to it. When it had to be like 19 at the time. I was 19. Yeah, it had to be. I was 19 and I was dealing with this guy named Ra. Ra's mother was a part of a group which is still here. If you know about Queen Afua, Queen Afua has a group called the Sacred Woman. This elder, Mama Moot, was a part of Sacred Woman. So shout outs to the Sacred Women out there. They actually are doing the work. And shout outs to Queen Afua, right, for making that new path and to starting something new. So let's get straight into it. I met Ra through another friend of mine named Ross. So shout outs to Ross. Ross was teaching me about the Livity at the time. I was really into Rastafarian culture, and I decided to go to one of the best scholars named Ross. Ross was a Virgo and he was a doctor, but he was Rastafarian, and he would teach me so much. Like our time would be at the park studying and researching, and he would bring books and we would talk and we would smoke. And so shout outs to Roz, a very intellectual person. I met Ra through Naya Bingi, and Naya Bingi is a time where we celebrate certain people's birthdays or certain times of the year where we meet up and we chant and we play the drums, and we sometimes if it's outside we'll do the fire, like for His Majesty birthday, Haile Selassie the first. We will go to Prospect Park and we will burn the fire, and the Rastas will be, by the fire here, and it's a very orderly type of environment. Women have to cover up. You cannot show your body. You have to wrap your hair up. The woman couldn't go into the tabernacle. The woman had to stand outside the tabernacle. So there was a few things that I've learned. I also learned that day, first going into Nyabingi, that women do not play drums, which was very upsetting because at the time I just got a drum and I wanted to play the drums. So I just left the drums. Actually, I let the men play the drums, and I just stood and enjoyed my time with the Nyabingi. But we're not here for that. But I met Ra at Nyabingi, and what a great experience. We both got to experience certain things. I met Ra. At the time, I was just getting into crystals, so I was teaching him in the tent. Never met him before, but I was telling him like, "Yo, lay down. Let me put this crystal on your third eye." It was an amethyst crystal, so I put the amethyst crystal on Ra eye, and he felt the pulsate of the crystal. So that's how we started to talk, and we was building, and I got to I got to really see things differently. He taught me a lot. I taught him a lot. But I'm more thankful for his mother because his mother was the one that really shook me up. So let's talk about Mama Moot. Um, I was able to meet Ra's mother because I was dating Ra at the time. and I met his mom, and I knew that I had some things, and Ra knew I had some things that I wanted to work on as far as like emotional, because the relationship was very emotional, like when it comes down to like healing and wanting to get out of certain things. So I met his mother, which was a part of Sacred Woman. The day that I met his mother, I was very thankful, but I also like, I'm gonna be honest, I bled. I didn't know what bleeding mean. And when I mean bled, I mean, sometimes when we meet people, we don't even ask them, like, do you have time to speak about these things? How are you first? I met her, and I felt that connection, and I just started complaining about everything, 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 everything. I spoke about things in my life. I spoke about, you know, how shitty I felt like my parents was at the time. Just when you first awaken, we have this why. We have a lot of whys. Why did my parents didn't do this? Why didn't my parents do that? Why didn't I get to have this amount of attention? And XYZ, Ray, whatever your experience is. Everybody experiences different when they wake up into their consciousness. And she listened. She listened. She never interrupted me when I was bleeding on her. But she stopped me and she asked me, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I crochet and I sew." At the time I was crocheting, I was sewing a lot. So she was just like, "Well," everything that came out of her mouth was impeccable. She told me, that's the first time that I really heard this saying, "You were sitting on money." And I think that even that time I laughed it off, but I didn't know what the fuck she meant. What do you mean I'm sitting on money? Everything that she said was so strong. She didn't say a lot. I said, "Thank you." Um, I go back into bleeding on her, right back to that. And she told me, she said, "You're bleeding. You're bleeding on people. And until you see what you have, you're never going to be able to grow." And I asked her, "What does bleeding mean? What do you mean I'm bleeding?" "Well, you have a wound, and now you're being messy. You're being messy." Elders is gonna tell you how it is. They're gonna tell you how it is for real. You didn't ask me. She told me, "You didn't ask me if I had the time to hear you. You just expected the fact that I had time to hear what you were saying." The second thing that she told me was that, because I was talking about like a certain situation, and what I used to do, and this is something here that a lot of us do, when we meet people, we tend to gossip about things so we could be able to relate to people more, or like be able to have something in common. So um I actually had said something about a family member of hers, and I thought that I was being helpful by saying something or pointing it out. And she had told me this saying, and now you guys hear me say all the time, don't point the fingers, because there's always more pointing back at you. And that's when I stopped gossiping. Because anytime that you gossip, it's really about you. It's really about you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And a lot of the times when people gossip, it's because they need something else to take them off their misery. Let me say that again. People gossip because they want to take away what they are going through. They cannot fathom the fact that they're going through an experience either similar to that situation or even worse. So what we do when we gossip is that we find some type of fault in other people, because we want to be able to kind of take away from something here that we got going on. When I say that I don't point the fingers because there's always more pointed back at me. I really mean that. And I've learned that through my experiences that anytime you point the fingers, there's always something here that's going on with you. There's always something here that you are not willing to see within yourself. So you go into other people and you talk about other people, or you put down other people because you're not happy within yourself. Sometimes we are so controlled, or it's not even controlled. I would say it's more of a habit. It's a habit to gossip. That's the first thing that you do because you think it's cool, or you think that that person here would do it. As you get older, gossiping is a little bit different. It's cool when you're young. It's cool. Even then, I think it's corny. I've never when I was younger and I've gossiped is because I felt something here within myself that I couldn't. I wanted something. I wanted to escape. I've been through. I was in a set, Paru, in East New York. I had no choice but to. I actually had a choice, but I decided to go to that set because of the fact that how at the time everything was just war in Brooklyn. Every time I went outside, there was something going on. So I needed protection. But anytime that I gossiped or spoke about people was because I wanted to feel validated. I needed some type of comparison. I needed to feel wanted and needed. And I wanted to make people talk about other people because then the attention is not on me. I need you guys to understand the importance of why we gossip. And anytime that you do gossip, there's always more that's coming back to you by gossiping. That is black magic. That's why I said it's black magic. The intentions behind anything that you say holds sound. Sound is vibration. A thought is a vibration, but imagine putting that thought with the sound, how powerful it really is. And just because other people gossip does not mean that you have to gossip back. If someone here calls you and they are bleeding and don't even ask you, do you have time? Do I have time? Do you have time to talk? Do people do that? Do people say, do you have time to talk? Or they just talk, thinking that you are willing to take on that bleeding, take on that baggage. You didn't ask me, you don't value my time. At that time, I didn't know her worth, Mama Moot. Because if I valued her time, my questions would be different. My response would be different. My answers, my generosity was different. But no, I came there thinking and having the same experience, thinking that that person will be able to accept or allow that. That's why it's important to have people that don't have the same opinion as you. Everybody in this day and age wants somebody to tell them that they're right. You want me to feed your ego. I am not doing that. I'm not feeding your ego. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But I also am not going to overstep myself if you can't see yourself. What do I mean by that? You and I have a disagreement. I know that everything that I'm saying is not emotional. It is literally, it is what it is. But you cannot see the truth and you want to combat me. I am not going to spread any lies. I'm not going to do any faults. I'm not going to say that's why you are in this position. That's why you're doing this. That's why this is happening in your life. I don't do that. I used to do that when I was younger. I used to always bring shit up when we get into argument. That's why you ain't shit. That's why you this. That's why you don't got that. Until I had gotten humbled. Because everything that I had got taken away from me. That is the fucking reason why you need to make sure that you're not speaking about people like that. Because you could be in the same position, even worse. You feel good at the moment, but you're crying later. Laugh now, cry later. Yes. Is gossiping really about them, or is it really about you? We don't have to fight with people that wants to fight. I don't have to pull you down because you're pulling me down. Do you know how much power you have when you just shut up and you let that person bleed? Because then now they have no choice but to see how messy they are. I'm gonna let you bleed. The lady let me bleed until I realized that she was not engaging in the gossip, and then exposed and said, "You are bleeding on me." The next time you call somebody, ask them, "Do you have time?" Don't just bleed on them. Next time you talk about that person that is in a financial bind, or that person that hair is messed up, or the skin complexion, or the status that they're in, ask yourself, can I be in that situation? How do I know where they've been? How do I know how they grew up? What they went through? What type of mother, what kind of parenting they had? Did they have food on their table? What experiences they had today? You just think that everything's about you, huh? The world is not about you no more. Definitely when you interact with other people, what is your interactions now? What are we talking about now? How are we building now? Are we just talking? So I say that the black magic is the gossip. And we have to change the way that we are interacting with people and how we interact with our friends. And when you go into family places and they want to gossip about people, you don't have to respond. You don't have to always say something here because you want to please people. Just be quiet. And then they will get the picture. Oh shit, they not engaging. They not talking about that person. They not doing this. They not doing that. Because I'm not giving that my energy. And plus, more of that will come to you. Hence why I said, don't point the fingers because there's always more pointing back at you. You know how much shit that was going on in my life and I was over there talking about a next person? Not knowing where they're at, what happened, how they grew up, what they fed, who's around them, what they going through. I'm just over here talking to talk because I want to hear myself. I want to feel good about myself. I want something to talk about. I want to feel inferior. I want to feel better. So I'm going to put somebody else down. But it's only for the moment. And then you look stupid. So if you guys like this, please let me know. Shout out to Mama Moot. All right, Sacred Woman, for the amazing wisdom that I've learned throughout the years. Shout outs to the comedic science information that I've came across. I just want to read you guys this one chapter in this book called The 12 Universal Law of Success by Dr. Herbert Harris, if you want to go get it. It says here, you must be willing to change your life completely. Make your life congruent with, consistent with, and harmonic with your desires' success. Is there anything about the way you think or feel about yourself that will frustrate your success efforts? If so, handle it immediately. Do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to become the person that you must be to accomplish your goals and realize your vision. Every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Peace.